Hey there, hey, it is Michelle, your big sis with Brilliant Quest. And today we're going to be talking about how to prepare your mind for wealth. And let me just tell you, you are on the road to mental keenness, to Brilliant Quest. And it does not just stop at dealing with the hard stuff of how to think through emotions and feelings. It also has to deal with how to think through to starting to attract, earn, and accumulate money. And I'm going to tell you really quickly, just like the other stuff, this is from experience. This is practical wisdom and advice. And this is stuff that I'm doing. I take my own advice and I'm sharing with you. All right. So I've got 4 points that I want to make with this. So come on, let's get into it. So the first one, when you're dealing with how to either build or rebuild your mind for wealth, first and foremost, don't just look at what the successful do. Because even when people are telling you about how they made it, there are hidden little areas that they're not trying to hide them from you, but they may not think to talk about them. And I'm going to highlight one of those areas. And it is primo that you deal with it. And I found that everybody that I have come across has a little bit of it to varying degrees, unless you are mentally disturbed. Okay. And that is money unforgiveness. Money unforgiveness. Now, money unforgiveness is a large branch. It is, as it says, where you have felt badly about how you've dealt with money. But money unforgiveness can also be generational in how you were taught about money and some of the things of those teachings that don't serve you well. So money unforgiveness is an ongoing process, but it is something that you need. And I would encourage you to get and explore so that you don't have any surprise, those kinds of things. Okay. So with money unforgiveness, like I said before, personally, there are going to be things that you, when you think about how foolish you were, you're going to, do a little shiver here or there. Were you scammed? Were you duped? Did you spend money like it was no tomorrow, thinking you would always have it? These are examples, not exhaustive, but these are examples of where money unforgiveness will linger and lurk. And it is important that we root up those things, snatch them out and starve them out, because unforgiveness is a hidden hurdle that keeps us from most things we're trying to do. 9 times out of 10, if you're trying to advance and do something and you keep coming up against an invisible hurdle that you can't see, it's usually going to have some unforgiveness, guilt, envy, jealousy, those little negative emotions attached to it for dear life, or possibly even intermingled with it. Yuck. And you will have to deal with them, get them out, root them out. Okay. And that brings me to when you're talking about money unforgiveness, dealing with whether you trust yourself or not. There is a lady I follow who is a writer like I am. And she put out a few days ago that and I think she titled it "Blogging Every Day Until I Pay Down My Debt." And I was like, what is Shonda talking about? And I read the article, and it was heartbreaking to me because her situation is not exactly like mine, but similar paths. And I was like, okay, I understand this. So she talked about her and her husband had done a, one of those all-inclusive loans to pay down the credit card debt and all of that, a consolidation loan. And so she had done that, but she said that she was undisciplined. Her and her husband were undisciplined and ran the credit card debt back up. And therefore now she had not only the consolidation bill to pay, but she was right back with having to pay the credit card bill. And she was talking about just the minimums and how if they paid up, I think she said it was like around $3,200 a month minimum for the minimums. And when she did the numbers, it would take her over 100 years to pay down the debt. And so she talked, and this is the part I wanted to bring up, because in her writing, I could see some of the unforgiveness. And she said things like, we can't be trusted. And she said things like, we're undisciplined. We've made a lot of, what did she say? I don't want to put words in her mouth. It was like, we've made a lot of the same mistakes, so recurring kind of things. And my heart went out because I understand this very well. And it wasn't until I started, and continue, because y'all, this is ongoing. It wasn't until I started journaling it out and really looking at myself, like, did you really need to go and do this or do that? And I would catch myself longing for money that I felt I misspent. Oh, wouldn't it be nice if you had that X amount of money right now? Or wouldn't it, those kinds of things. And I was like, oh my gosh, these are areas of unforgiveness. And so once you start looking at those areas in your life, you can quickly see them when somebody else is doing that. Now, shout out to her for being open and honest. And I mean, come on, let's face it. All of us are in an age where honesty, authenticity, and truth prevails, and the other does not. That is why I'm out here giving y'all my business and letting you know that, hey, I'm having to start over for real. Yeah. And now there's no shame because, it is what it is. And I'm over the hurdle of being shunned or not listened to because I don't have a kabillion jillion dollars, but you still show up. But today, right now, it is about us talking about this plan of you have not have to, but when you intentionally start mentally preparing for wealth, what it looks like. Okay. So with the money unforgiveness, I'm going to encourage you to do the same. Like I said, it doesn't require you pay a lot of money. Just get some paper and start just regurgitating on the page all the stuff that comes up about the woulda, coulda, shouldas, the why did I do this, the why did I do that, the regret, the guilt, the shame, the embarrassment, the stuff that you wish no one else would know, and write it down. I was dealing with a relative on some money unforgiveness stuff recently, and I asked them to do this, and I asked them to take it seriously, and they did. And they revealed something to me that was really powerful of the insight that they got about some unforgiveness areas that they were blind to, but subconsciously they knew. When I was going through the process of being able to just get enough strength to get up and to talk to my friends, one of the things I did was talk about my money unforgiveness and some of the things, because I like to be accountable to my friends, and there are friends that I know that they are my confidant. And if you have watched my 5 types of friends, you know that I talk highly about all of them, but it's something about the confidants and the reality checkers that get you right. I had a conversation with one of my friends, and I told him, I said, I am at that point now where I believe that I'm mentally resilient enough to go through the pain of loss so that I can right myself when it comes to what I have, what I don't have, and all of these types of things. Now, I'm gonna tell you, at this particular point, there is no unforgiveness, praise God, when it comes to my student loans. They are what they are. And I'm going to stop beating myself up for, why did I stop going to school? I'm over that. You see how I'm just being honest with you? Real stuff starts to come up. The relative that I was talking about had one of their close friends do the money unforgiveness regurgitation and looking for the patterns. And they told me that this person found something glaring and because they did this, was able to know it was time to talk with someone. When this person, third person, from the relative, did the money unforgiveness, they realized that they were ashamed of how much they were spending on beer each week. They didn't even realize that when you go and pick up a 12-pack and you're drinking a 12-pack a day just to make yourself feel like I can go to sleep, and then you wake up and you promising yourself, well, after work, I can just get some beer and, veg out in front of the TV. It adds up. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had never even thought about that. I'm a teetotaler, I don't drink. And so I didn't realize until they mentioned how much getting a 12-pack of beer every day, oh my gosh, I'm thinking about how much you got to go to the bathroom. But anyway, of how much that added up. So money forgiveness is a huge one. And if you say, okay, Michelle, I want to do it too, this is what you got to do. It's so simple. It's laughably simple, but powerful. You're going to get paper. And I've shown you, my composition books. But for this, what I want you to do is, I don't want you to use a composition book. I just want you to use just some paper. It can be notebook paper, anything that you can tear out and destroy. Okay? Because with unforgiveness, once you get it out of you, you want to destroy it. You don't want it to have any lingering ties to you, because energy don't lie. And if you keep that energy, even if you keep it stacked up in paper, it's still there. I know you might be like, Michelle, this is woo-woo. Well, you can't see energy, but it will electrocute you if you don't handle it properly. So this is for real. And we're talking about energy. Okay. So what you're going to do is get, loose paper and yeah, these are my notes. Get loose paper, write it out, and be honest with yourself. I don't care if you flinch. When I tell you, when stuff comes up for me about money unforgiveness, there are times when I cry as I'm writing, and my pen starts to smudge on the page, the ink, because it's so hard, but I must get it out because you don't want it to continue to fester and turn into a malignancy. So you're going to write out the stuff that comes up for you, and then you're going to, in a safe way, shred it up, tear it up. And as you're tearing it up, don't just crumple it, tear it up. And as you're tearing it up, I want you to Thank it for the lessons, the good that it left you. Thank it for the insights of teaching you what you don't want to do, teaching you the behaviors that you will not return to. And then if possible, get a metal bowl or something that can be contained, and I want you to burn it to ashes. And I want you to thank it and let it go and release it. And the psychic weight is going to be amazing. Because think about this. If you have unforgiveness, mistrust, because a lot of people have mistrust, they feel like they've betrayed themselves when it comes to money. How is more money going to want to come to you? How are you going to attract it to you? How is it going to think you are a great place to either come through to pass or to stay? So you want to clean this up. All right, there's another side to the money forgiveness that I want to talk to you about, and it's called money typing. And so there are different types of people when it comes to money. You have the spendthrifts, and those are the people, they can't keep money. It's in, out. When they get, they are happy when they have it, but they're even happier when it leaves because they want stuff. Their priority is stuff or experiences. They use money to gather. They got that gathering spirit on them, but it's not money. They use money to gather things, experiences, favors. And a lot of times they're very giving. They will quickly give you money. That's usually not a problem with spendthrifts. When they got it, you got it. So it's a good thing. But it is a personality that will cause problems when it comes to unforgiveness of money, because hindsight is 2020. And when you're moving that fast to get that money out your hands, you don't have time to be critically thinking about tomorrow. So the spendthrifts. Then you have the money monks. And these are the people who think they're above money. They're the ones that when they do something that should garner money, it's okay, you don't have to pay me, or just give me what you want. And thus they are showing that either they don't like money, they repel money, or they feel like they can't trust themselves with money. And therefore, get it away from me. It's evil. Money is evil. It will taint me. It will turn me evil. And then you end up having unforgiveness because money monks will kick themselves. The money was right there. I knew I needed it. Why did I do that? And you know you're a money monk when you do that, but you need to take that blessing and use it. Okay. So then you've got the money whores. The money whores. The money whores are the ones who you can tell because they're always flashing money at you to get you to do something. And they're always turning any kind of relationship they have into a transactional relationship. Well, I'll pay you. I'll pay you for your time. You're wanting to just do something, if they ask you for something, it's fine, I'll do it. I'll pay you for the time. And so you're like, okay, so if that's all I mean to you, if I'm just a resource, okay. And therefore they take away from themselves the ability to connect. And when it comes to it, they start believing that they only can interact with people if they can pay them. And when they don't have the money to pay people, they feel alienated, alone, and bitter. Now, there are more of these money types, but for the sake of time, I wanted to cover these three and let you know that you are not alone. And if you find that out of those three that I just mentioned just quickly, that makes sense, then be aware of it. Okay. Some others that I was going to mention the money hoarder, but to me that's self-explanatory and all of that. You stop the flow of money to you and some other things. But just know that money forgiveness is for all. And you first need to recognize it, bring it up with the negative emotions around money, write them all out, tear them, burn them up. And with the money typings, recognize where you are, and you could be more than one. Recognize where you are and then start your rehabilitation process. All right. So that was money forgiveness. Whoa, I might have to turn this into two, but we're gonna get through this. Y'all gonna stick with me, right? Okay. All right. So the next one is get your order right. All right, so this one, you pay attention, snap, pay attention because this one is real important too. All right, I have talked about the order of be, do, have in many videos, and I'll quickly say here that when you are preparing your mind for wealth, the first thing you want to do is you want to be wealthy. It does not matter if you are negative. It does not matter if everything is turned off, if you don't know where the next penny, let alone dollar, is coming from. You must first be wealthy before it happens, because the proper order is you be it, then out of you being it, you do it, then out of you doing it, you have it. And the issue with wealth is if you get the order wrong, it will have you running around and it will dog walk you. Most of the times when you're having a problem with a wealth accumulation financially, it is because the order is wrong. There are many people, and I've caught myself times doing this too, so I'm not above it. That's why I'm telling you. There are many people that put the do first. So they want to be wealthy, so they do all these things to have wealth. And then once they start doing them, they immediately start trying to have the stuff like the wealthy. Like you'll see them going and buying little things and splurging on little stuff because they want to feel wealthy by what they are doing. I deserve it. I splurged on myself. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you have the right order. Because when you do so that you can have, so that you can finally believe it and be it, that's an order made for mess. Then you have those that want to have first. These are the ones who beg for their reality, but purchase their fantasy. This is the person who is going to go out and blow whatever they have on that latest bag, sneaker, the latest it thing, when they know they have bills to pay. And because they're like, and they'll say the craziest stuff. They will outright lie. And when I say lie, I say lie because they don't have a connection to make it true. So they'll want to spend money knowing they don't have it. And they'll say things like, I'm rich, I got it. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because you're trying to have so that you can be, so that you can do. And you know it to be the case. My case in point, yesterday, my sister sent me the funniest little meme, and it was of a young lady who had all of these different, she was at the airport waiting on a flight. And she had all of these high-end bags and luggage and things from high-end luxury brands. And on the meme, it said, here I am with, and she named like 4 different brands, high-end, waiting on my flight and sitting in seat 22, whatever, okay? Denoting that she's in, basic economy or whatever. And my sister, she wanted my take on it. And I was like, well, it's funny, but it just seems like, the priorities are stuff over time. And she was like, I knew you would say something like that. And I was just like, it's not a wealth mindset. It is a have so that you can feel wealthy with no connection to the doing. Now, I don't know this young lady. I'm just saying what the meme had. This is not a judgment on the young lady. It's a judgment on not even a judgment, an observation on what the meme was putting out there. And it had the little smiley, laughy, crying little emojis for you to get a chuckle out of it. It's, equivalent to the people who have the designer bags, but they don't have the money that even the designer bag costs to put in the bag, that kind of thing. And I'm not teaching asceticism where I'm telling you to starve yourself and, do without. I'm simply saying that getting the right order will allow you to do these things, because when you are firmly ensconced in the belief with the connection to do it, that you are wealthy, all of your behaviors, your actions, and your tendencies will align. For instance, if you get into the habit of looking yourself in the mirror each morning, assuring yourself that you're going to take care of yourself and that you are wealthy, trust me, your bedtimes will get consistent. You will get up. You will get things done. You will become more effective and efficient in your productivity. And it is not because you're trying to mimic what you think other wealthy people do. It is because these are the ageless things that people who attract, earn, and accumulate wealth do. Ask me how I know. Every day and every way, I'm getting better and better. Every day and every way, I'm getting better and better. And you can tell because those people are consistent. They are diligent. They are anchored. And they have a lot that gives them that heft to their character where they don't have to tell you. You just know it by interacting with them. So let's get those priorities in order. Be wealthy, and out of the being, you will do the things that get you the wealth so that you can actually have the wealth. And when you do have, your wealth will not trap you. It won't be the trappings of wealth. It will be perpetually sustaining wealth in all areas. You'll get your body right, your mind right, your business, your family, you'll get it right, okay? Because being produces what you do, okay? I think we've got that. Okay, here's the next one. And this one is a big one, y'all. So yeah, I can almost guarantee you ain't heard this one before, okay? And this is, I want you to get MADS, 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 okay? And that stands for MADS, M, multiply, add, D, divide, and S, subtract. Multiply, add, subtract, divide. Well, what do you mean by that, Michelle? We about to talk some numbers. Here we go. All right. So with the multiply, you want to, at the beginning, you want to do more than you've ever done. You want to make use of the power of the numbers. If you haven't watched that video, the numbers will lead the way. Watch that because I talk about the power of knowing your endings and your beginnings. And I talk about the 3 sets of numbers that each have an energy. You have numbers that live in the beginning of something that gives you that forward drive. You have numbers in the middle, and then you have numbers at the end. And I'm going to break this down for you real quick. All right, so wake up. If you still here, wake up. Here we go. All right. And I know you're still here. Not know if you're still here. Okay. So multiply is to do more. And you're going to make use of the numbers of the 1 and 2 energy. 1 is the forward push. 2 is the multiplication of what 1 is doing. And then to that, you're going to give it the push it needs. It's kind of like priming a pump of water, a well water. You're going to continue to prime and prime and prime. That's how a lot of people's growth looks like this. And then it shoots up. And that is because of the multiplication. And when you understand MADS, MADS, you're going to be like, oh, I'm getting wealthy, because you're still keeping it in order. Okay. So you want to multiply. Use that 1 and 2 energy. 1 is the potential. It is the piercing shot. 2 is the envelopment and the multiplication back of what that 1 energy is doing. The next one is add. This is where you're going to use the 3 energy. The 3 energy is the creative energy. It's like when the 1 and the 2, the father 1 and the 2 mama get together, they produce the child, which is 3. So that's why you want to add to your efforts. This is where you will start to possibly add people. This is where you will leverage. This is where you will grow what you want to do, and you will scale it. So this is that 3 energy of creation, of creativity, where you are adding on to what you're doing, and you're making it to where it gets really, it really starts to gain momentum. Okay. All right. So that's the 3 energy. So that's the beginning. Remember, 1, 2, 3 is beginning. 4, 5, 6 is middle. 7, 8, 9 is ending. Okay. So now you got the M and the A, multiply and the add. Now let's get to that division. All right. So division is that 4, 5, 6 energy. That is that middle part. And the division energy is where by the time you start getting to the point where you have grown, it is now time to start assessing what you have. You have hopefully enough energy, experience, data, if you will, insight, wisdom, to start looking and seeing what is sustainable, what is not, and how you can group these things together so that they can continue to go and grow. So that's why you're going to start dividing. This is where you start dividing the time of what you were doing in the multiplication, where you start to scale back a little bit, maybe give other people, meaning if you're trying to build wealth, you've been doing all this saving and trying to invest. This by the time you get to this 4, 5, 6 energy, this is where you start bringing in advisors. This is where you start getting a tax strategist. This is where you start developing relationships with your local banker and your real estate agent, just so you can figure out and have access to what they can get you by way of investments, whether it be retail property or commercial property or different opportunities of networking. So this is that 4, 5, 6 middle energy, where you're doing a lot of work to assess what you've got. And like I said, you're going to divide them, you're going to chunk them into thematic things. You're going to start getting them ready to finish strong. And so you got to start getting order to all of the activities you've done. By this time, you have enough in a portfolio to see, well, I need to get rid of these underperforming stock. I need to move money to this. I need to have these growth stocks. I need to have these income producing stocks with dividends, those types of things. So that is the 4, that's the division. So then, excuse me, you've got the S, and the S is the 7, 8, 9. Now the S, if you watched the numbers video, you understand that the 7 is the test. And in this case, when building your mind for wealth, when getting organized and getting in order, by the time you get here, this is where you're going to start refining your process. Now, remember, back in the division, we actually started chunking stuff together to get it ready. This is where the stuff that you scaled up, the leverage that you did, by adding people back in the addition, this is the subtraction. And this is where you subtract the superfluous, the fluff, the 80 that only gives you 20, if you will, the reverse Pareto principle. And this is where you get lean and refined to using the best. Companies go through this cycle. They don't call it MADS, but they go through a similar cycle if they're going to continue to be lucrative and solvent, and they're going to prepare themselves for growth. And what this process is, when you're getting your mind ready, this is a process to teach you how to handle the contractions and expansion of money. Because when you do the money forgiveness, another pattern you will probably start to see is when you've had money and when you've not had money, when money has been plentiful and when money has not been plentiful. And by using this MADS method that I've just given you, you will be able to track and put yourself in the right areas so that you'll be prepared for the contractions. You'll be prepared for the down turns. And like I said, I'm telling you what I'm doing. not what I'm thinking or hoping. This stuff works. All right. Now this video is getting long and I have 2 more. If you'll bear with me, I'll go through them. Okay. And then write in the comments, if you've gotten to this point, write in the comments if you want me to do another video about this so that I don't feel so rushed, or maybe even I can do a private workshop with you guys. I'm thinking about doing that, but write in the comments more. Okay. All right. So here is the next one. And it's self-explanatory and I'll be able to go through it a little bit quicker. But I want you to oppress, attack, and annihilate fear. And of course, you are familiar with limiting beliefs, but that's the tip of the iceberg. When we're talking about fear, I also want you to attack your fear response to when you have upcoming large bills, unexpected expenses, when you have to spend money that you weren't planning to spend. Start working on the fear response that comes up, that, where's that coming from? Or, I don't want to think about it. All of that takes away from your ability to be mentally prepared for wealth, because wealth with money is not about the accumulation of money. It is about the energy and the flow of money, where you don't have these obstructions and these repellents to money energy coming to you. So you got to deal with your fear response. The next thing under the fear response is deal with the irrational fears. And a lot of people have irrational fears of loss, death, and even pain, or I should say pain and even death. Irrational fears that you have not mentally connected, that I feel like if I lose this money, I'm going to die. I'm going to suffer. I'm going to be without in a painful way. So look at those areas and do this. I know it might sound trite, but do this. When you feel these ways and you feel like you got to hold on really tight, you have just stepped out of a universe of abundance to a universe of lack, struggle, and punishment. Put yourself back into a universe of abundance. Even Einstein said E equals MC squared. He was talking about mass and a constant growth of mass, which meant energy, which meant expanding, which meant abundance. This universe, as we know it, is continuously expanding and growing in abundance. So how, if you are in accord with this universe, would you ever believe that there is lack? No, there is lack when you become powerful enough to send negative emotions to put you there. So that is why you got to deal with the fear response and the irrational fears of loss, pain, and even death. Abundance, abundance, abundance. Okay. The next one under the I want you to annihilate fear is I want you to annihilate the fear of change, the fear of the unknown, and the fear of the future. Now, I've already told you guys that was one of my big ones, the fear of the future. I couldn't see myself in the future, and that's never good. That leads to anxiety, panic, spiraling a lot. Even if when you think of your future, you can't see it or sense it, I want you to pretend that you are better in your future than you are in your present, because in your present, you're making it better for your future. Right now, there are things that I thank previous historic Michelle for, because she did what was needed for me to be okay. And of course, there are things that previous Michelle did because when she didn't know any better, and when she wasn't disciplined, and when she didn't have this plan, put present Michelle in a bind. But because I got over my I don't know why I keep saying it, my money unforgiveness, and now I'm in money forgiveness, and now I attract as well as earn and accumulate money, I am determined to make life easier instead of harder for future Michelle. I went from pushing the can down the road where future Michelle would have to deal with all of my mistakes, meaning that I would compound the issues, to now I consciously and with intent do my darndest to make sure that future Michelle has it better than present Michelle. That is preparing your mind for wealth. Is this good? Y'all let me know in the comments, because I'm sharing what I'm doing with y'all. Okay? So just because you didn't have to pay with this with money don't mean that it's not good. Okay? I might take this down. Anyway, no, I wouldn't do that. All right. So, and then the last part that I want to talk to you about is to get free from the time trap. Okay. What do I mean by that? I mean that you want to start incorporating the themes of these words. Okay. So to get free from the time trap, I want you to incorporate perennial, perpetual, evergreen, recurring, and residual. These are the things I want you to give high priority to. And that means that I want you to start doing things. Now, if you work for others, that's fine. But I want you to start doing things like working once for things that will continuously reap benefit over and over. YouTube. I love me some YouTube. YouTube has changed my life. I'm just saying it. All right. YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn. These are companies and efforts that you can use to do this very thing. This video that I've made at this particular time has now become immortal. Unless YouTube closes down the servers and stops delivering it, if you want to watch it, it's not going anywhere. When I produce my books, they are now immortal. Unless Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Apple, and all these different places just shut down, they're going to be there forever. I currently have books that I wrote in 2012 that are still selling today. That is a blessing, a blessing. And so that's why I want you to get free from the time trap of simply exchanging your time for money. And I want you to start with purpose, intentionally creating things that you work once and you get rewarded perpetually. Okay. Then the next thing is I want you to leverage time. Oh, yes. And that means you're going to consciously, with effort and intention, avoid. This is one of the biggest ones. Oh, don't do this. Don't do this. I used to do this. Don't do this. And that is, don't make random tactical decisions when you have not planned, strategized, or organized yourself. There will be times that I would react out of panic, out of fear, out of deadlines, and I would do stuff that had impact, reverberating impact, just out of randomness, that in no way benefited me except for that now. I didn't do this, but I can give you one example. Say, for instance, you got a bill due and you go to the payday loan place. That's a random tactical decision that will reverberate and do you harm in the long run. Instead of talking to the creditor and saying, this is what's happening. I am prepared if, you have to do what you have to do, but this is what's happening. And it's hard to do that. But that is getting out of the time trap and also getting out of the fear of the pain and the death and the future where you can't see, where it's only bleak. Okay. Discipline. Out of planning, organizing, creating, and making simple no-brainer routines that take away the need for you to have to expend so much energy, you are going to develop a discipline and when I talk about discipline, I am saying in the shortest sense of the word, do what you say you're going to do at the time, date, or opportunity that you said you would do it. Going back to historic Michelle, present Michelle, and future Michelle. If I make plans at night when I'm feeling it and I'm feeling good, in the morning, present Michelle cannot get undisciplined and not make the first step of what historic Michelle said that we would do. Because remember, as you continue to work this plan, each day, present Michelle or present you must do things to make it easier for future you instead of making it harder for future you. By switching that is going to get you on the wealth plan. So much so. Okay. So I wanted to make sure that I gave you some insights. Now, if you notice, I didn't tell you anything about money because this is the mental part of it. This is the part that they don't tell you about that it will kick you out of the race every single time. And I'm out here doing the brilliant quest work because there is a mentality, understanding of what you need to skillfully do with your mind to have the stuff that everybody else is taking care of. There are a lot of people telling you where to invest, how to invest, the opportunities. Big Sis Michelle is going to tell you the mind that it takes to do those activities. So I'm going to recap it and I'm going to let you go. All right. So when you are building a mentality to prepare for your wealth, first thing that I want you to do is get yourself in forgiveness. You need to do your money forgiveness. The next thing is you need to get order. You need to be, do, have. Then you're going to use MADS. You're going to use multiply, add, divide, and subtract. 1, 2 from M, 3 for addition, 4, 5, 6 for division, and then 7, 8, 9 for subtract. And that is going to get you to where you start something, you work the middle, and you finish it with how you are moving yourself into a lifestyle of wealth. Then we got to annihilate, we've got to oppress, we've got to attack fear. And not just the limiting belief fear. I want you to make sure that you start dealing with, rooting out and up your fear response. You're going to work with dealing with the fear of change, of the unknown, and your future. After you get through with that fear, The next thing is you're going to get free from your time trap. This means that you're going to start incorporating those perpetual words: perpetual, perennial, evergreen, recurring, residual. Yes. And you're going to start actively seeking out and performing and doing or acquiring something that you do once, get once, obtain once, start once, and then it perpetually produces for you. And then you're going to leverage your time. And by leveraging your time, you're going to plan, organize, get simple, no-brainer routines, and you're going to get strategic. What you're not going to do is do random tactical things in the now because of a fear or a pressure. You're going to take the time to pause so that time can start to reward you. And you're going to be in today. You're always going to do things today that help your future self have it easier. All right, so guess what? Yeah, I want you to watch the next video in your brilliant quest. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share, comment. Check the description if you are wanting to do a one-on-one with me where I can, work with you, help you get some plans together, or just even if you want to see what's happening for you and, appeal to the oracle side, we can do that. Link in the description. Any books mentioned, link in the description. And if you just want to say, you know what, I'm here rooting with you and I want to get in on this and support the channel, you can do that as well. Links in the description. So my time is up. I thank you for yours. This has been Big Sis Michelle with Brilliant Quest. Bye.